everyone, I am Sneha, co-founder and CEO DevCompass, and we're back with stage 4 videos. Too much work, too many things to grasp, but I hope all of you guys are having fun. We are almost halfway through the course. We covered stage 0, 1, 2, 3, and now we're heading to stage 4. This is the lengthiest of all stages, but I'm sure once you complete this entire stage, you are going to be super confident of your skills, and yeah, you're just going to be proud. That's it. That's all that I think will happen. And obviously you did learn a lot of concepts along the way, so I am super excited and I hope you're excited too. For everyone else who has no idea of what I am talking about, please head over to devcompass.ai and you will get all the relevant information about this Claude certificate preparation course. Without wasting any time, let's get started. So stages 1 through 3, you have been working entirely with the API. You define tools, you write loop logic, you send messages and receive responses. You are in control of every part of the plumbing. Claude Code is a different mode of working with Claude. It's a command line tool. You run it in your terminal, in your project directory, and it can read your files, edit your code, run commands, and work through multi-step tasks on your code base. It is Claude, but already wrapped in a loop with a set of built-in tools and a file system interface. This video is the orientation that you need before we configure Claude Code, because if you don't understand what it is first, the configuration won't really make sense. So today's video, again, all about what is Claude Code and how does it fit into your development workflow. Now, I am using presentations to kind of explain it, but I would really recommend to go hands-on. Whatever IDEs that you're using, you can add a plugin or you can download Claude Desktop, and there is a separate section of Claude Code. Okay, let's get moving. So, the core distinction, we have talked about this a bit in the earlier videos, the API versus Claude Code, right? So for API, you write code that calls Claude, you define the messages array, you manage the loop, you define tool schemas, Claude processes what you send and then returns a response. So you are the outer layer. Your code drives everything. Whereas Claude Code is, you open your terminal in a project directory and run Claude. Claude Code already has the loop. It already has a set of built-in tools, file reading, file writing, code editing, bash, command search. You type a task in natural language and Claude works through it, calling those tools, reading your files, making changes, all of it. The loop is handled. The tools are pre-built. You're working with Claude on your code base, not writing code around Claude. So left side, which is the API, is you build systems with Claude, whereas Claude Code is you develop with Claude. API for production agents, pipelines, applications, Claude Code for code base, work, team workflows, CI, etc. API for production agents, pipelines, application, whereas Claude Code for code base, work, team workflows, etc. The key thing to understand is they're not either or. You use both, okay? So no either or, you use both, different jobs. Learners that are joining us from stage 3 shouldn't feel like Claude Code replaces what they've already built, because it doesn't. It literally sits alongside it. So here's what a real Claude Code session looks like end to end. So let's look at the steps on the screen. First, you navigate to your project directory in your terminal and run Claude. That's the entry point. Claude Code starts and reads your project. The other way to do it is also open Claude Desktop and get everything started. Second, you type a natural language task. The test suite is failing on the order validation function. Find the issue and fix it. That's the entire input. No tool schemas, no messages, array, one sentence. So Claude works through it. This is the same agentic loop that we have already studied about from stage 1. Send, check, stop, reason, tool, or done. So Claude Code just runs it for you. In this case, there are a few terms which we'll discuss about later, which is glob to find test files, read to read the failing test, the function it's testing, etc. Edit to make a very targeted fix, but let's not worry about that. And step 4 is the final result, which is the fix applied, test is passed. So Claude explains what was wrong and what it changed. Okay, so remember, this is the same agentic loop from stage 1. Claude Code isn't doing something magical. It is running the same loop that we have already built in stage 1. You just don't have to write the plumbing yourself. It's already wrapped in and all built in. Now, okay, so there are 3 things that make Claude Code particularly powerful for teams. First is consistency. When you work with Claude via the API, the behavior depends on the prompts you write. Every developer has their own style. Claude Code lets you define shared conventions in a file called claude.md. We will cover this in detail in the next video. And those conventions apply to every developer on the team. Everyone gets the same Claude with the same knowledge of your code base, your standards, your processes. The second one is context awareness. Claude Code runs in your project directory. It can read your files, your structure, your existing code. It is not answering questions in a vacuum. It is working inside your actual code base. So you're not pasting code into a chat window. Claude has access to the real thing. Third is composability. Claude Code isn't just for interactive use. You can run it non-interactively with the -p flag, which pipe tasks to it from scripts, run it in your CI pipeline, integrate it with your existing tooling. It's a component. It's not a chat interface, okay? And we will cover about the CI in probably video 6, so let's not worry about that. Let's look at the decision table that when do I use Claude Code and when do I use the API. So first, if you are building a production agent with custom tools, that's the API. Claude Code's built-in tools cover development tasks. They don't cover your specific business logic or custom data sources. Second, working on a code base, that is for sure Claude Code. It fixing bugs, writing tests, refactoring, that's Claude Code. It runs where your code lives. Third, running a one-off task in a CI pipeline. So you can use Claude Code with a -p flag, non-interactive, scriptable, fits into existing workflows. So again, more discussion in video 6. Fourth, reliable structured output from a pipeline. That should be the API with tool use for extraction. And the last one would be team-wide code-based conventions. So that is a lot about how do you set up a markdown file called claude.md for everyone to kind of be consistent and have similar code conventions while writing code. Again, we will talk about it in the next video. So the exam might present you scenarios and ask you to choose the right tool. So you can run through this table and kind of get some understanding there. Now you have to remember that, okay, Claude Code is literally Claude in your terminal with a built-in loop and file system tools. You can also access it via their desktop app. API is for building systems. Claude Code is for developing on code bases, okay? And it has, it maintains consistency, context awareness, composability. So it is very powerful as a team tool, okay? So Claude Code on its own is super powerful, but Claude Code with a well-configured markdown file is what actually scales across a team. The next video is going to be entirely about that file, what goes in it, how it is structured, how path-specific rules work, and how you use it to make sure every developer on your team is working with a Claude that knows your code base, your conventions, and your constraints. So I will see you in the next video.